Hi everyone, it's me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alanna and I'm a Canadian, but I have been living here in the UK for the last 6 years. And today we're going to talk about the expectations versus the reality of living in the UK. So I'm going to share 5 of my own expectations that I had about living in the UK, plus the 5 corresponding realities of what it was actually like. So without further ado, let's go. Number 1, I thought I would be surrounded by that beautiful British accent you hear on TV. Now, TV and movies carry a lot of the blame when it comes to misconceptions, stereotypes, expectations, because you don't know a place until you live and work there. So until that happens, you kind of go off of what you have seen in TV and movies and maybe consumed in popular culture. Now, of course, the reality is, first off, there's no such thing as a British accent. It doesn't exist. More accurately, I was thinking about received pronunciation, you know, that BBC voice, that voice you hear in very posh TV shows and movies and that kind of stuff. And yes, that accent does exist. But one of the best things about the UK are the sheer amount of accents. And we are talking, honestly, hundreds. So while my expectation was that I was going to hear this very posh accent all the time, which I do hear it, I know some people that do sound like that, the reality is actually a lot more exciting in that the UK is full of so many different accents. So for instance, in my day-to-day life, I live stream on Twitch twice a week. So every Wednesday night and every Sunday night, I am live on Twitch. If you want to come hang out, that'd be totally cool. No worries if not. Some days we play games. So sometimes we will play a multiplayer game where we go on voice chat. And honestly, within the voice chat, we have my voice, we have a Southern voice, we have a Scottish voice, we have a Northern Irish voice, we have a Midlands voice, we have a Northern England voice, and we're all just hanging out playing a game. It's awesome. So this expectation that I wrongly had, I'm actually quite happy that I was wrong, because one of the things that I do love about living here are the sheer amount of accents, the variety of accents. It just feels like there's so much character to people's voices, and I absolutely love it. Number 2 on our list, one of the expectations that I had, unfortunately, quite frankly, to be completely honest, was that I simply was just not going to fit in. And I really thought I was going to end up back in Canada sooner rather than later. But the reality, 6 years later, I'm still here. I tried to be painfully honest and blunt and upfront about my experiences living as a foreigner in the UK, living as a Canadian in England, and it's not easy, and I'm never going to pretend that it's easy, or I'm never going to pretend that I love all elements about this life. And certainly at the beginning, I really struggled. I typically call it my 5 months of living hell. The first 5 months were really hard. And I really had that expectation. Even as I was trying to get settled and I was just starting out, I really thought, you know what? I don't think I'm capable of this. I don't think I'm capable of changing my life like this. I don't think I'm capable of fitting in. I don't think I'm capable of staying here. And thankfully, the reality is the opposite. And even though I am very settled here now, I'm approaching 7 years, there's still bad days. I'm not gonna lie. There's still bad days, but the fact that I love living here, I love my life here, I'm very privileged and I'm very grateful to be here. I'm just really happy that my original expectation that I was never gonna fit in was not true. And if you are a new expat or a new foreigner and maybe you are struggling as well, just letting you know, I deeply struggled at the beginning. That is not uncommon. That is not unique. If that's something that you're going through, the only thing I can say is have an open mind, just be patient with yourself, and sooner than later, you may find that the British way of life, the life here in the UK just might be for you. Number 3 on our list, when I first moved to the UK, I thought I was going to be seeing lots of quaint high streets and trendy cafes, and people were going to be living in thatched cottages. Now, some of this is real. And yes, some people live in thatched cottages and some people live near a historic, beautiful, quaint high street, and some trendy cafes exist, but not everywhere. So of course, the reality is a bit messier. Of course, there are towns and villages and cities and places around the UK that don't have that like stereotypical image that you see on movies or TV shows. You know, you see Poundlands and you've got Greggs and you've got McDonald's and you've got betting shops. You've got rubbish on the streets. You know, you've got more rundown areas than others. That's just life. I mean, Canada is the same. It's just part of the whole package. Currently, I've lived in both types of places. I've lived in very picturesque, quaint type places. I've also lived in places that no tourist would ever want to go, and you're not gonna see photos from those types of places. Both exist. I've lived in both of them. I've had wildly happy memories in both of them. It's part of life. So yes, beautiful places exist in the UK. There's so much to look at and to experience and to explore, and a lot of it is aesthetically pleasing, but of course, there's other stuff too. That's just life. Number 4 on my list of expectations, I really thought that when I first moved to the UK, I was living in Kent, I was living in a town. I thought I was going to miss out by not living in London, or at the very least, a big city. And thankfully, the reality is that I absolutely love it. I find the internet kind of has something to do with this one. All the expat related content that I was seeing, whether that's on YouTube or Instagram or social media, so many people live in London. That's like the expat hotspot. You know, lots of young people live in the city, and I was really feeling some, fear of missing out kind of feelings because I was going to be in Kent, I was going to be living in a town or a village, and I'm going to miss out on that experience. And I am so grateful that over the years I have discovered I love visiting London, I love visiting big cities, but I am very much a village or town person. And I think this just comes with experience. When I moved to the UK, I was like, 22? An idiot, and I'm slightly less of an idiot now, and a lot of that just comes with experience and trying it out. I love visiting London and going into London for the day, maybe for the weekend, but I do feel like quite a sense of relief on the train home. Lots of peace. I feel more at peace in towns and villages. That's just my cup of tea. So I'm very grateful that this expectation I had originally ended up not being true. And it may be true for you, like any expats watching. You may find that London is your city. Big cities is like what you want to, be around. And that's the kind of vibe that you want. And 100% you do you. But just throwing it out there that the towns and the villages, in my humble opinion, are really what make the UK. Those are the, I don't know, it's just like, those are the places to be, in my humble foreigner's opinion. Number 5 on our list, one of the expectations I had is that it was just going to rain for the rest of my life in England. Even when I was telling like family and friends that I was moving to the UK, moving to England, so many of them said like, oh, you better get ready for the rain. Oh, I hear it rains there all the time. Oh, it's just a rainy place. Thankfully, the reality is not quite that. So yes, it does rain in the UK. Surprise. Surprise, it does rain here. But I do find it rains a lot less than I expected. Of course, I am down in the southeast. I am down in Kent. I think we are very lucky that we get pretty decent weather. Like as I'm filming this, it's really hot in here. I'm like trying not to look sweaty, but I know when I edit this, it's gonna be a bit sweaty. So yes, it rains here, but not all the time. If anything, the reality for me is I find it's way more overcast than rainy. So there's so many times, so many days in a year when it is just like fully overcast and it looks like it's gonna rain, like you really think it's gonna rain, and maybe like a couple of drops, but then that's it. Of course, if you are a foreigner watching and you move someplace else in the UK, perhaps more up north, perhaps up into Scotland, or some more rainier areas, your experiences will be different. But what I find here in Kent, not that much rain. Rain, yeah, but not every day. I think a big part of the expectation versus reality sort of dilemma with any country, if you're British and you're gonna move to Canada, you're gonna have the same thing. You really don't know a place until you live and work there. That is when you really discover what a country can be like, what a town can be like, when you are living a real life in that area. You don't know until you get to that point. And for me, it's kind of weird, but I've been aging on YouTube like in real time. So if I go back and watch some old videos about my perceived experiences and my thoughts about the UK, those old videos, my thoughts are different. They're changed, right? My experiences are different. I've been here longer. I've also aged. I'm older. I hopefully like slightly more mature. So a lot of that stuff is just like, it comes with life, comes with living. If you like this video and you want to watch more videos, which would be totally awesome, why not check out this one where I share 6 life lessons the UK taught me. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, bye!